Okay, Chris, are you ready to confess?
I am. Let's do this.
All right, tell us about yourself and what you do.
So my name is Chris Davis, and I'm based in Rigby, Idaho. That's Eastern Idaho, and I'm a DJ. That's how most people come to me. I think I more excel at the like MC and DJ combo, but very few people Google where can I find an MC. So technically MC, but we do a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. How'd you get into that?
So looking back, my earliest memory, I went to a party at a friend's house, and she had a DJ, and I don't know, I was probably 11, something like that, 10, 11. And she had this DJ there, and I thought he was so cool. And I'm like, dude, that's what I want to do with my life as a 10-year-old, right? And so after that, I went back and I started like recording onto cassette tapes, like off the radio, just all the songs to build my library. And then fast forward a few years, our I was in charge of a dance for our church, and I did it, and it was okay. Like I figured out how to use the DJ equipment that they had there at the church, and then I did it again. And then a professional DJ moved into my congregation, and he's like, "I'll train you on everything." And he showed me the ropes on how to be not just a good DJ, but also like a good business person and the customer service side of things. And so yeah, so that's and it's expanded from there. But that's kind of where I got started.
That's awesome. It's always nice to have somebody who's like a little bit ahead of you or like even like further ahead of you just to like help you because I mean like there's no point in doing it alone.
Well, and that's the cheat code, right? Like
Yeah.
if because you don't really want to practice on somebody else's wedding, but you can get that practice in if you're side by side with like a professional. If they know what they're doing, then they're not going to mess it up or let you mess up the wedding. So I think shadowing is, you know, it's so good and it's so smart too because it just jumps the line instead of you having to make all the mistakes. Like you just learn from their mistakes that they've already made. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a cheat code for really any industry, I think.
I like to start it off pretty juicy. So tell me about the craziest wedding story that you have.
Craziest wedding story. Okay. Um, so there was a wedding and uh and I'll just be transparent here. We did record one, I guess I should confess that. We did record this one time. And after listening to it, I was like, that's not it. That's it. I need to redo it. And Ivy, you were so kind to let me do this again. Take a
Thanks for
second.
coming on again.
Yeah. I mean, just wanted more FaceTime. That's it. So, but I think the juiciest story was this last year. On the way to the wedding, I was working with a planner. Shout out Shelby with White Antler, and she called me and she was like, "Hey Chris, I had to leave the site to go get more plates and cutlery and everything because the chef said we need to double everything on the day of the wedding." It's like,
Oh God.
okay, no, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
she said, I left my assistant there, and this chef has been a little nuts. And I don't even remember the guy's name, but she said, when you get there, just make sure he's like doesn't hurt her. So, okay,
Jeez.
like that's not something you expect to hear, but we got there. I mean, it was fine. Then that same wedding, let's see, what was the first thing that happened? Same wedding. So just before the ceremony, and I have to kind of describe how this was set up. It was overlooking a valley. So there was like, I won't say a cliff, but there was definitely like a very steep hill, like all
Mm.
around this whole property. And I came around the side of the building and I see everybody rushing towards the cliff thing. And it turned out like a couple of groomsmen had jumped over the side to like, cause a hat flew off. And so they were trying to I was worried it was a kid, but thankfully it was not. It was a couple of groomsmen. They were fine. So there was that. And then it was a wild wedding looking back at it. So then the couple got pretty smashed. They were pretty drunk. Um, and when she went to cut her cake, she like sliced open her hand. It was like bleeding everywhere. Like it was
Oh
um
no.
Yeah, and I don't think she felt it as much as she should have because she said, "I'm fine, I'm fine." She was not fine. It wasn't good. So we partied the rest of the night. We went later than we were planned on because it was actually a pretty good party. They were having a good time. And I went to go check with the groom and the planner and just to find out like how late do we want to go so I can kind of plan my set. Um, but I quickly like backed off because as soon as I got in there, the groom and the chef were like yelling at each other, like like full on yelling. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go DJ. And then the cops showed up because the chef was like, I'm not leaving until you give me more money, more than the agreed upon amount. So I'd say that was probably the juiciest wedding that I've seen in at least in recent times.
So why was the chef wanting more?
I don't know. It was a little shady because the planner told me that throughout the planning time, like the 6 months up to the wedding, he would just kind of randomly call the planner. The chef would call the planner randomly and say like, "Hey, I need more money. I need more money." Like really unprofessional. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you could make up your own story about what that means or what he needed money for, but yeah, very odd.
Weird.
Yeah, and his food wasn't even that good, I didn't think.
Oh, that's the worst.
Right. Do you become like a food snob? Like when you go to weddings, you're like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Um,
What are like memorable food plates that you've had? Food plates? Meals. That's the word. What are memorable meals that you've had at weddings? Good or bad?
mm. I mean, I feel like it's a like a rite of passage to have dry chicken.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I think the beef is worse. When the chicken is dry, I think the beef is sometimes worse if they have both options. It's just like
Yeah.
uncooked or not cooked enough. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
I will say there is like the best food actually okay, it's kind of like a split tie, but the best food I had was wasn't even at a wedding, but they were both wedding caterers.
Okay.
The first one, they actually catered my Idaho Bride styled shoot that I did
Oh, cool.
in July, end of July.
Okay.
Anyways, it was Broken Bowl Catering, and my God, it they're like they've got a pretty good reputation over here, and
Yeah.
like it definitely lived up to it. And
Wow.
then the second one, she also has a really good reputation. It was at a holiday party this last weekend. Her name's Pelopino Catering, and again,
Love her. She's
so
so good.
good.
So good. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm like, I like anything less than those two options is not going to be good enough.
Yeah, anytime I hear that she's going to be the caterer, and a planner that I work with a lot over there, she likes to use her. So that's Little Bird Boise,
Okay.
Sierra, and she's awesome, and she often recommends Pelopino because they're so good, and
So good.
yeah,
Like the mashed potato. Okay, like all of her food was good, but I'm a mashed potato girl,
okay,
and
Idaho,
I
got it.
like had as much helpings as they would give me because it was the best mashed potatoes I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, I remember she did this one where it was a mac and cheese like buffet. I'm a sucker for mac and cheese. Like if they have mac and cheese and ice cream at a wedding, I'm like, doesn't matter how the rest of it goes. I'm good. But it was like a whole like buffet of different kinds of mac and cheese and toppings you could. It was it was really
I'm
really
drooling.
yeah. It was so good. Yeah
Oh, now
yeah.
I'm starving
I know
also.
right? Yeah yeah. So
Okay, what's the best or worst food that you've had
um
besides
oh
that one?
uh this last weekend was pretty good. We were in Sun Valley and it was just like a beef something or other, but it was really, really well cooked and um yeah. I think they had risotto too. That was really
Oh,
well done.
I love
So it
risotto.
was and okay, here's the thing. I don't know if this happens to you too, but oftentimes when I go to a venue that they do their own catering, it's more often than not subpar because they don't have any competition, so they can
Mm,
just kind of cook how they want because they don't have any other choice, right? So
yeah.
no competition. But they were really really good. Anytime. There's one over here, Grand Targhee. It's a ski
Oh,
resort. Anytime I go there, they have really, really good food. Oftentimes it's pretty similar every time, but they're really good. And then there's one in Jackson too that I really like,
mm,
Spring Creek Ranch. And I do a lot of weddings there, and they always have good food. And they always treat me really nice there. And it's just, I guess, sometimes it's less about the food and more about like how they treat you as a
yeah,
vendor. Like instead of like, here's a scrap of bread, deal with it. When
yeah.
like there's this place called Diamond Cross Ranch,
Mhm.
and they're past Jackson Hole, and they always set up this table for the vendors in the back, and they just bring and it doesn't matter who the caterer is, they always have these tables set up for the vendors, and it's so nice. It's really nice. I think the worst food I had was from that one chef. It was a meatball that big. No joke.
Oh,
It was huge and very cold in the middle. It was cooked, but it had just been sitting. So, so that's probably the worst one. So
yeah,
it was a good wedding. Like all that stuff aside, like it was actually really, really fun.
yeah,
But just memorable. I guess some of the things that you don't want to remember, but yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
hate that
yeah.
because, like, that's what the couple's gonna remember, like, not all the good times.
I fear that whenever a couple gets a little too toasted, I fear that they are going to be remembered for that and not for all the other good things. Even though that was only like 2% of the night, like
Yeah,
I worry about that. So I try and when we can, we try and protect couples from that. But you know, everybody has their own choices to make. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and especially, like, demanding more money, like, on the wedding day, like, you take care of that, like, in advance,
In
you know?
advance or afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Like file a like what are they, civil, or I don't know what it is. I don't know law. But like figure that out, but not on the wedding day. Like
yeah.
that's crazy.
Tacky,
Yeah.
tacky.
Yep.
Kind of going off of that, what's a boundary that you now enforce because of one specific couple or instance?
Ooh. These are good questions. You didn't ask this one last time. This is a good
I
one.
I have evolved the questions. I
Yeah.
kinda got like, I try not to ask the same questions in the same order. I like
Yeah.
to see, like, how it goes with the flow, and then I've also evolved the questions
Yeah.
because
No,
I
that's a really good question because I think sometimes people don't set boundaries because they're like, I just need the paycheck. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I for me, I don't know that there's a specific one. Um,
That's good.
the way that I would answer it though is anything that doesn't allow me to do my best work.
Mm.
Um, if I show up to a venue and the venue says you're going to set up over here in this corner,
Oh.
nah, like I know that over there is not going to allow me to do my best work. And so that would be a boundary that I set, right? If the couple says, here is my playlist and only play from this playlist, I'm going to tell them, respectfully, even if it's a great playlist, this is a great playlist, but the reason that you hire me is because there's n- there's no way to tell weeks in advance how the night is going to go. So you need a DJ there to kind of adjust that. And maybe the song that's going to make the night is not on this list.
Mm.
So anything that doesn't allow me to do my best work, and sometimes that's even during the sales call. I understand like this couple wants something that I'm not able to give them. And so there's my boundary. I don't want to put myself in that position. And maybe I think my nightmare would be if a couple hired me and then afterwards they say that wasn't worth it or that didn't fit what we
Mm.
want. Like I don't want that. Like I'd rather you go find somebody that's going to fit you, because everyone's going to be happier. So I don't know that's a direct boundary, but
I
yeah,
think so.
roundabout way of answering it.
Yeah. I think that
Yeah.
was a very I don't know the word, but that was a good way of answering it. What's the most entitled thing somebody has ever said to you?
Ooh, these are such good questions. They really
Thank
have
you.
evolved. These are so good. Um, okay, without airing too much dirty
Yeah, don't name names.
right. Yeah, no, no. So there was a wedding that I did, and the groom just had he had his vision. He
Mm.
even he had a bunch of surprises for his bride. She didn't know about, and you have to be careful with with surprises at weddings because I've had some surprises that were planned, not by me, well, partially, but that didn't go very well, and so I've learned my lesson there, right? So, this groom, he there was okay, how much of the story do I want to tell? I'll just tell the very end. So the wedding had gone pretty good. They had hired a couple of artists and they played two different sets. The second one, they were both really talented, and both had like decently good names in the area that they were from. And but the second one was not a party atmosphere performer.
Mm.
It was like really really talented, but wasn't like a party. So I had an hour and a half to play after that, and I was really worried that after this like kind of atmosphere that had been created that I wasn't going to be able to like bring it back to life, right? Um we did bring it back to life, but then at the very end, from okay, so for DJs, we always have to be thinking like 3 steps ahead to think like,
Mm.
what am I going to play next? And I'm watching the crowd to see like, okay, are they reacting to hip hop? They're reacting to hip hop, so I can stay on hip hop for a few minutes, but I know I need to go to EDM or country or something else, right? And especially when we get to the end of the night, when we get about 15 to 20 minutes before the end of the night, we really start ramping it up and thinking like, how am I going to end this? How do I build to that? And we get really precise about that. At least I do. I'm a little, maybe a little crazy about that, but I really try and think like, what is going to make the end of this night just leave people wanting just a little bit more, right?
Mm.
So we get to 6 minutes before the end of the wedding, and he came up and said, "Hey, you got to play Purple Rain right now." And I'm like, out of like high, like like the dance floor was going, and
Yeah.
so like, okay, Purple Rain, that's like a twist. We can make that work. So I drop Purple Rain. People are singing it. Um, and then I'm like, okay, but I'm gonna build from Purple Rain like into like a high energy thing, right? Like build it up so it ends really good. So I do that and I build into a song, right? And I have like 60 seconds left, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey, you got to cut this and play Creed." I was like, so I did, and it worked. It was great. I think my ending would have been better, but he had a vision, and
Yeah.
at some level, you have to respect their vision and understand that in some ways, as long as it's not going to be disastrous, is more important than what I think the ending should be. And his vision was good, like it was really good. It just wasn't exactly what I thought. So but the way that he said it did feel a little entitled. Like, you got to cut this, put on
Yeah.
Creed. Like,
Okay, so was this a groom or a guest?
it was a groom. It was a groom. So
Okay.
like, I gotta kind of listen to him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can't just be like, if it was a guess, I've had guests do that kind of thing and be like, ah, sorry, can't do it. But
Yeah.
you know, they're not paying my paycheck, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so going off that, how do you revive a dead dance floor?
Let's okay. So we can use this as kind of a. I guess we're gonna tell more of the story, huh? So first thing that I have to do, so I use something called pacing and leading. And I think it's a running term. I don't know. I'm not a runner, but the idea is if you want somebody to follow you, you can't just run past them. You got
Mm.
to like start jogging by them and then lead them, right? So I couldn't just drop like a crazy banger right out of the gate. That's too high of energy, but it can't be
Mm.
too low of energy either, right? Um, so there's like a 10-minute transition period. So I played like Wagon Wheel because it was like an acoustic artist that was playing. So I played Wagon Wheel. So that's kind of acousticy sounding, but a little dancey, right? And a little
Mhm.
singy. And then I went from there to Any Man of Mine. That's a little bit more on the country scale. And then from there, the groom wanted to start with a Savage. It's called Swing by Savage. You can look it up, but it's like
Okay.
once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, I've heard this before.
Okay.
But maybe not the most popular song in the world, but it did work, right? Again, his vision worked. But like I had to kind of ramp it up just a little bit slower than I normally would to take it from a room that was just like, I mean, half the guests had left. A lot of people were on their phones. Um, yeah, like I said, the guy was really talented, but it just didn't quite fit for as long as he played. It didn't quite fit the atmosphere that the couple was looking for. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, so that it was just kind of that like I was trying to pace where the people were, and I saw like okay, they're responding well to this, and they were ready to party though, so
oh.
it wasn't too hard to resurrect that party. I don't think.
So
So
what was the performance?
what was the performance?
Yeah.
So they had two acoustic acts, and they were two duos. So one like
Okay.
they played their first dance, and he was really really good. And then the second one they played after dinner, and they just played like a lot of like kind of song songs that you could play acoustically, mostly like country, slightly
Mm,
rock. It was yeah, so like red dirt country if you're familiar with that.
yeah.
So yeah, like good, but just there's only so much energy you can get in a room with two people playing acoustic guitars and singing.
Yeah.
Like it's that versus like if you drop get low, even sonically, they're two very different things, and you can feel the bass, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, it's good, but just
What's your most requested, like, party song, if that makes sense?
um, maybe get low.
Yeah.
It might be that one. Um, and
What's
it's
your
it's good though, like
Yeah.
'cause people get down to it. I do get a little tired of some of those, but at the same time, you can only get so tired of it because like you drop it and people go nuts, and you're like,
Mm.
okay, I like it again. So
So I saw a video and normally it was like I see the opposite, so I'll give context. So
yeah, yeah,
I saw a video and this guy was talking about how emotional it was to see I think this guy was a guest or a groomsman or something. But they played it was like a very typical first mother-son dance, like
okay, yeah,
very typical.
yeah.
Rascal Flatts. You'd probably know 'em.
Oh yeah, yeah, My Wish.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
okay. Um, and he was just talking about, like, how it was such a hit, like, there wasn't a dry eye in the room, but on the wedding vendor side of things, you would probably more often than not hear, like, "I'm so sick of hearing this, like, can they just pick something else?" And it's like, they're hits for a reason, and yes, you see that every weekend, but they don't, and it's not about
Right.
you.
That is so true, and I think sometimes we get a little desensitized to what weddings are, what wedding days are,
Mhm.
because I might play Usher, yeah, like, I don't know, 20 times in a year, so I hear it so often, but these wedding guests, they go to maybe 2 weddings a year, and so they hear those, and they, like, brings back all the memories. When we're thinking about, how to when we're crafting, like, a playlist for a dance floor, we try and ask questions to the couple in a way that will give us songs that they're emotionally attached to.
Mhm.
And that's the only reason that people, in my opinion, that's the only reason that people get out on a dance floor at a wedding is when they hear a song that they are emotionally attached to in some way. It doesn't have to be sentimental. It could be like they had, it's nostalgic from high school. Um, because like this is pretty simple to prove. Like, you would much rather hear a DJ play songs and mix poorly, but songs that you know really well, than to
Yeah.
mix really, really well mixing songs you've never heard before. Like, you just don't want to hear that. Ideally, is mixing well, but also good songs. Um, and when you hear something like "My Wish" and you listen to the words, like they're good.
Mhm.
They're classics for a reason. They're used often for a reason. My Little Girl, Tim McGraw, like I hear that often, but it's so like the words are really, really well written. So yeah, as a wedding vendor, it's easy to be like, "Ah, not this again." But
Yeah.
you know, it for the couple, it makes sense. There are some that
Totally.
I've heard that, I'd probably say probably shouldn't play those again, but yeah, most of the time it's you just have to take yourself out and just put yourself in the couple and the guest position. So,
Yeah. I think also, like, as a wedding guest, I wanna hear songs that I know that, like, I'm like, "I know how to dance to that song." Like, for example, the Cupid Shuffle. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get on the dance floor unless I hear a song that I know, and then, like, I feel like that one's a pretty easy gateway to, like, stay on the dance floor. But
Yeah.
I've heard so many wedding vendors, they're like, "I'm so sick of this song," and I'm like, "I get it, but
Yep.
out of your shoes."
Right. How do you guys think about it? And we do get a lot of couples that say, we don't want to hear Cupid Shuffle or the Cha Cha Slide or any of those at our wedding, which I get. Um, and I think what it comes down to is um, building a dance floor can be really, really difficult. And there's some psychology that has to go into it. Like when couples have, if they have 50 people at their wedding and they have a huge dance floor, getting that dance party
Mm,
started is going to be almost impossible because, like, if you do the math, I would have to, for that dance floor to look full, I'd have to have 90% of the people out there, right? And that's difficult to try and get 90% of the people, 40 people, that's not the 45, 45 people, I'd have to get 45 people to all like the same thing. And
mm,
to hit the nail on the head, that's difficult. Whereas if you have 200 people at a wedding, I could get 25% of the people there, I get 50 people on the dance floor, and easy, so easy to do, right? And so, like, so there's that side of it, just like thinking, how do we appeal to the most people? And Cupid Shuffle, Cha Cha Slide, that will do that for sure. But it's for the DJ, and I think most DJs would say this, it's more fun to get into the challenge of it. To like,
mm,
how can I get these people out with a song that they didn't expect, but they're all gonna love, you know? So anytime I can avoid the Cha Cha Slide and Cupid Shuffle, I do, partially for the challenge and also just so I don't sound like every other DJ. But yeah.
What's your absolute least favorite song?
Can I give you a category
Yes.
of least favorite song? My least favorite songs are songs that are written by relatively unknown artists
Mm,
specifically for a parent dance.
mm,
They're bad. I just
yeah.
like these types of songs are the ones that you have to go to the artist's website to buy them. Like you can't get them on
Oh,
Spotify or so because usually in these songs they are very like um they're very tell and not show. Do you know what I mean? Like they like
mm,
tell like when I held you as a baby, I thought
mm,
like it just it feels very forced. So those are my least favorite. I had one up in it was up at Tamarack and the
mm,
couple came to me and they said, "Chris, we know that this song is terrible, but this is the song that my mom wants to dance with me to, and we're giving her this." And it legitimately, like, not just the vendors thought it was bad, like, people were having to, like, cover their mouths to not laugh because it was legitimately, pretty cringy. But it was just that, it was very, like, too on the nose instead of
mm.
being a little bit more lyrical and creative with it. So yeah, I don't know that I have like a specific song that I hate. It's just those songs. But if a client likes those, if that's what they want, then suddenly I love them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm there for whatever they want.
How do you go about, like, the because I feel like the full length of a song, especially on, like, the mother, son, father, daughter dances are like, the full length is too long. It just gets awkward with people just standing there and looking and, like, people are like, "What do I do?" Like, how do you judge the timeline of it?
Okay, so you're talking about for the highlight dances specifically.
Mhm,
When my general rule for that is I try and give them 2 to 2.5 minutes of a song. That's my typical time frame. Over 2.5 minutes, people start checking their Instagrams. Like they pull out their phones and they're bored. Unless it's a choreographed dance, that's different.
mm,
Choreographed dances they can go on longer. Um, I think generally what we try and do is we actually edit all the songs beforehand, so we don't like just fade it out. We have it edited so it sounds like the full song but it doesn't, because I don't love the feeling where it like fades out. I
mm.
don't know, that's not It's not my style. So we edit it to give them the first verse, the chorus, the bridge, and then another chorus, and that's it. That's it, and that's usually about 2 minutes or so. We also take out long intros because that can be pretty awkward. Because if the couple's just out there and they're like dancing to just like a guitar for 30 seconds, it's awkward. People want to hear
Mhm.
the lyrics. So we cut that down. If there are long instrumental parts in the song, if it's not crucial to the song, there's some songs where it makes sense, but we'll cut a lot of that out. So we really try and be intentional about what we're playing, especially for those highlight dances, because more than any other time, people are paying attention to that moment. And so we want to make sure that we're not dropping the ball as far as like creating a 30 seconds where it's not great. We want to be able
Mhm.
to like make sure that whole time is great. And we have some I can't really reveal, but we do have some like secret sauce stuff that we do to just make sure that those moments stay fresh. One that's not really a secret is setting it up right, is making sure people are paying attention. I tell this is kind of side note, but but I also know that you love like side quests. So
Yes.
um I tell anybody that's speaking, I tell them like, no, actually, okay, let me rewind. When the couple is like, okay, we want to do the speeches after everyone served dinner, and I tell them you really don't want to do that. You want to wait until like 75% of the people are done, because people think that they're scared of talking in front of people, but they're way more freaked out by talking in front of people that aren't paying attention to them. That's so much worse,
Yeah.
right? And so we try and set up like a first dance, a father daughter, a mother son. We try and set it up in a way so that it's special, that it doesn't go on too long, and that everybody's paying attention. Because when people tell me like we don't want to dance for too long because I don't like being the center of attention, they don't want to be the wrong kind of center of attention. Is really what they're saying. And so it's our job to make sure we set that up. So hopefully, did that answer that? Hopefully that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
And I think it's like such a important like period of the time because you want the moment to still feel special, but then you don't like it's such a fine line where it's like, all right, it's no longer special, it's just awkward.
Right. Yeah, and that like everybody's seen that. If anybody's played the full version of Butterfly Kisses, it's almost 5 minutes long. It's a really sweet song, but it goes on for so long and nobody wants that, including the couple. So, yeah.
Do you think that it just comes from experience or like couple preference or
What do you mean? Does what come from experience?
like like
Shortening?
yeah, like obviously that, but then like do you I don't know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, okay, so I think it's just yeah, I think it does come from experience because when you've been to enough weddings, you can see like, oh, this moment's awkward, that
Mhm.
moment's awkward, and you can see that, and hopefully if you're trying to do a good job, you're looking for ways to cut those things out. After every wedding, me and my team, we always ask the question, what went well?
Mhm.
So what can we replicate, right? And what could we have done differently? We specifically don't ask the question what like went poorly because we're going to be beating ourselves up about that anyways. We've already answered that question, right? Without even talking about it. We both know like that cable was out of place or the mic cut out or
Mhm.
whatever, right? We don't need to talk about that. We already know. But we think about like what could we do differently because not everything that's a solution is a solution to a problem. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? Like,
Yeah.
um, for example, have you seen when brides have recorded a message for the groom before the ceremony starts? Have you seen that?
Huh,
So, okay, so imagine,
maybe give me context. Maybe I have. I
yeah.
just
So, so the groom walks down. He's standing up there with the officiant. He's hugged his parents. All the bridesmaids and groomsmen, they've all walked down. And the song fades out, and the next song for the bride, it's supposed to start playing. And all of a sudden, he hears his bride over the speakers say, and it's pre-recorded, obviously, but says like, "Hey there, Jerry. I can't wait to marry you. I know you're a little nervous, but we've gotten this far, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you." Like, oh my goodness, I love stuff like that. But that was not a solution to a problem, right? Like nobody was like, "How do we fix this moment of the bride walking down the aisle?" That's
Mhm.
not a problem. Like that is the most memorable part of the day, but that just so we try and think like how can we take these moments that weren't perfect and how do we how do we fix them? How do we come up with new solutions? So
It's funny that you say that the most memorable period of the day is the bride walking down the aisle. I think it is for everybody else, but not for the bride. 'Cause, like,
tell okay, that's a good hot take.
at
What do you think?
least okay, so I I didn't do it in the traditional way, like, I walked up with my husband, and I, like, don't remember it, like, at all, because
Oh,
there's
interesting.
all these people looking at you, and, like, you're not thinking about being in the moment walking with whoever.
Yeah.
It's, like, I don't and I've heard it from several brides, like, "I don't remember my ceremony at all," like, type phrases, but everybody else remembers it because I feel like there's less pressure on coming from everybody, like, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, it makes 100%. Every time I ask a couple about like their engagement story, when I get to the like he got down on one knee and I ask him what did you say, and they almost always say like I don't remember. Like
Yeah.
I don't. So that makes sense that the bride would like be like I don't remember that moment.
Yeah.
That makes
Well, and
total
I feel like too, like, I'm not a talk in front of a bunch of people thing, so I'm like, the only part that I remember, was because I was being funny, but I did like, I blew baby powder off of my vows
That's
because
funny.
we'd
Yeah,
been
yeah.
together for, I think it was, like, 8 years at that
Oh
point,
my goodness. Yeah, yeah.
and so, like, I remember that because I was like, "I'm pretty funny."
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good.
But I don't remember anything else other than what I've seen on video.
Yeah. Well, and so I do a good amount of officiating too, and it's funny to me because most of the time, like when I'm like writing up the script for it, I'm thinking I'm talking to the audience and I'm talking to the couple, but most of the time it's so funny because the couple is not paying attention at all. They're like talking to each other, like whispering, having a whisper conversation, and I'm like, I'm talking to you. Are you not hearing me? I'm like right next to you, but they're in their own little world, as they should be. I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I'd never really thought of that. Um, okay, now I got to
So
come up with something.
what's your take on, like, a private first look with vows versus doing vows in front of everybody else?
Okay, so I think it's actually really good to do private first vows, like a first look vow reading, because they're able to share things that they would not share in front of other people. So I think that that's really, really sweet. Um, but also, my hot take on this is I think it's a huge mistake to not share vows during the ceremony at all. I think I've seen enough couples just not say anything except for I do during the ceremony, and it just feels like for the couple and for everybody there, it feels like they had a stranger talking to them, maybe a stranger to only
Mhm.
half the guests, but a stranger talked to them for 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and now this couple's married. So it's not really valuable for the guests. Like it's not an enjoyable experience for them. They're just like sitting through it to get to the like cocktail hour snacks, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's I don't know for you. You can tell me how you feel, but I think that's the most interesting part during a ceremony is hearing what they say during their vows. Now they don't have to share like from the heart vows, but just something. You know, whether that's repeated after the officiant or whether that's like vows that they're like the exact same thing that they both say. Like I think there should be some vocal participation during the ceremony and that's for the guest's benefit, but also I think it's for the couple's benefit too. But they don't have to. I don't think most people want to bare their soul in front of their guests, and that's fine. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I kinda have a couple opinions on this. So first off, I like, as a guest, seeing the emotion and seeing, like, how much they love this person, like, I wanna see you cry, like, as bad as it sounds, but, like, I wanna
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it, like, and I live this way through, like, the magazine and the podcast, like, I want the drama, like, there's a better word for it, but, like,
Yeah,
the spice in life, like, give me,
totally.
like, s and I'm also, like, an inherently emotional person. It's probably because 'cause I'm a Cancer, but it's, like, I don't know, I like it. Anyways,
Yeah.
so I wanna see that, but also I feel like the reason it's publicized in the form of a ceremony is because you are making this promise to this person to spend the rest of your life with them, and it's sealed by the promise that you're making in front of all of your friends and family. I feel like
Yes.
it
Yeah.
is done on purpose. I do agree with what you're saying as far as the private stuff, like doing it maybe privately first, because that one takes out the nervousness,
Mhm.
and two, you can be real and honest and share things you wouldn't share in public. But I
Yeah.
do think it's important that you do make that public promise, because I feel like that's the root of the whole ceremony, is making that public promise in front of all of your friends and family.
Yep.
Because
Otherwise elope, right? Like,
mhm,
it's
yeah.
an elopement. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a really good point. I haven't thought about it that way before, but the ceremony for me is like I that's the reason that you're there the whole day. That's it. That's that 15 minutes. That's why you're there.
And cake.
Um
Just kidding.
and cake, right? I like pie better, but so
At a wedding?
oh dude, totally. I'm a big fan of when they're like, we're not cutting a cake. We're like cracking a cookie or something. I don't know. I think I'm all for it. I think it's great.
Alright.
But yeah, those
Okay, wait.
go ahead.
So I, saw, a reel recently, and they blew out candles. Like, it wasn't like a
That's
birthday
cute.
style cake, but it was, like a line, and they blew I thought that was cute. I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
I had somebody do an Oreo dunk. They did like a first dunk. That was really
That's
good.
cute.
What were some of the other ones? Like somebody cut a cupcake, which is like similar. They did a pizza one time at one of my weddings. They cut a pizza. So
I
I'm
do like
all
the
for it.
trend that we're going towards, like, the hyper personalization. Like, it's not just a wedding. It's like, I wanna experience you as a couple and everything that's important to you.
Yes, because all the traditions. Okay, so now we're getting to the traditions, right? All of the traditions, like some of them are pretty cringy when you look them up, like where they started from. If you ever want to ruin like the bouquet toss or garter toss or anything like that, look up the history. And that
Ruin it for me.
I don't feel comfortable saying it on a podcast. Look it up. The flowers. Okay, most of the wedding traditions are either to keep evil spirits away,
Uh-huh.
or they're to for fertility. Like it's usually one of those two things, right? So like the reason that all the bridesmaids carry flowers is to confuse the evil spirits so they can't tell which one's the bride. Like, are they that dumb? They can't tell, really.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, the cake, right? That symbolizes fertility, like because of all the grains in the cake. Yeah,
What?
yeah. It usually falls into one of those two categories. And so as you can imagine, the garter is not far from that idea either, right? The groom taking, yeah. So, um, so that it's I think it's really good that people are renewing these traditions and doing them for themselves because
Mhm.
those traditions don't make sense anymore for who they
Mhm.
like. I have never met a couple that's like, okay, Chris, here's the music, but also how can we avoid the evil spirits on our wedding day? Like, they're not going to do that, right? And I've never had a couple like, okay, how can we maximize our fertility on the wedding? Like, they just don't. That is not a thing that they worry about. Um,
No.
but there are other things that they think about. They're thinking like, how do we have a happy family life while we have schooling and our careers? How do we maximize our happiness while taking our hobbies into account, right? So I think, if we're being smart about this, we should be doing I actually haven't thought about it this way, but I think it makes more sense to bring those traditions in because that's who these people are. These people aren't avoiding evil spirits and looking for fertility. They are who they are. They're fly fishermen that, they want to tie a knot. They want to tie a fly
Yeah.
or they're what, like that makes a whole lot more sense, and that's gonna mean a whole lot more than just throwing a bouquet because that's what everybody does, and I think bouquet throwing is fine, but yeah.
I
So
feel like it's kind of a given, but what's the one tradition you wish you'd to never see again?
oh, wait, what do you mean you think it's a given? What do you think it is?
You go
You
first,
think
and
it's
I'll
the
tell you if it's what I thought it
you
was.
think it's the garter?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's fine. I think the garter's fine. I think
It's
it's
awkward for
it is
everybody involved.
I mean, I don't what's funny to me is like when okay, we're like veering off into territory, but what's funny to me is when they're like, but my grandma, I'm like, your grandma has 13 grandchildren. She knows what's going on. Like, this is nothing new to her, right? She probably had a garter taken off of her leg at her wedding. This is like, right. So I mean, garter, I think maybe it's the most useless tradition. I don't know that I have a specific one, but yeah, maybe that. Sure, let's
Yeah.
go with that. Yeah.
You don't have to just because that's what I said.
No, I think it goes back to what we're talking about is like you shouldn't have traditions at your wedding that don't make sense for who you are. That just don't do it. Yeah.
What percent, like, um, I guess, are you still having, like, all of your weddings still do garter toss?
No, maybe 20%.
Mm,
Maybe. I had
okay.
this wedding, it was a few years ago, and they said, "Yeah, we wanna do the garter removal and garter toss." And I ask it both, like, "Do you wanna do the toss and removal?" Because sometimes they're like, "We just wanna toss it, we don't wanna."
Yeah.
Yeah, so they said yes, and so I sat the bride down, on the mic. I'm like, okay, go ahead and sit down here. And I said, all right, I'm going to play some music. Everybody cheer on and go ahead and remove the garter. And I try not to sexualize it. I think that's in poor taste. So I just, announced for him to remove the garter. Um, but he didn't know what to do. He had no idea what like removing the garter was. He didn't know, so he just kind of like looked at me like, "What do I do?" And I felt really bad because I just assumed everybody knows, but I
Yeah.
shouldn't assume that, right? So yeah,
Well, I feel like if you say yes to something and you don't know what it is, like, that would be the time to clarify.
yeah. I mean, but there was probably a lot that he wasn't sure about, and the bride was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this," and he just went along with it. Um,
Oh.
that's my guess. We fumbled through it, and it was fine, but I just kind of felt bad. So now I ask, like subtly, like, "Guard removal," and you know what that is, right? Right? So yeah.
Have you ever had somebody, now that you ask, say, "No, I don't know what that is?"
No, no, it's just that one that I didn't ask about. That was the
Yeah,
one that they didn't know. Yeah, thank
that's
goodness.
hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what are other things that you have found that you think is like a general given, but people actually don't know what it is?
Um, so the anniversary dance, for me,
Mhm.
that feels like a given where you get
Yeah,
all the married couples on the dance floor, you kick them off by how long they've been married. For me, that feels like a given. I've seen that at enough weddings.
I think it's so cute too.
I think it's adorable. I think
Mhm.
it's great. And I try not to view it as a game. Like sometimes I think people think of it as a game, but about halfway through you realize like this is kind of like a big deal that we're celebrating people that have been married for 50 plus years. Like that's so cool, So
Mhm.
we try and phrase it that way. The shoe game, which I don't love to do, just because maybe for my own sake, I've just seen it so many times. But we do have some twists on it that we do. Like, for example, we'll get the parents up there as well and have them
Mm,
answer the question at the same time. Um, yeah, another thing that I've seen kind of go away, that I always ask about, but 90% of the time they say no, is any unity traditions during the ceremony. Uh,
mm.
like ring warming or sand blending or hand fasting, any of those, they just people just don't do them because they want to get through the ceremony really quickly. Yeah, so I think those are the biggest ones that are kind of going away and like that you would think most people know about, but they don't. Also, the names of certain parts of the wedding, like
Mm.
processional and recessional, as wedding vendors, like you always like we just know what that is. But when you're like, yeah, the processional, and they're like, um, or the name of the officiant. My favorite is when people call me the officiator. Like I feel like the officiant. It just feels like a
Like a
superhero.
Terminator.
Yeah. So yeah, some of the names, but that's just kind of like an industry thing, I think. Yeah.
Um, okay, I have a few that I specifically want to answer, or like ask, and I don't feel like it's a good segue, so we're just gonna jump into it.
Okay. All right. All right.
What do couples think that they're buying when they hire you versus what are they actually buying?
Oh, that's a good question. So, for us specifically, for our company, they are buying a DJ service. That's what they're buying. They're buying somebody to play the music. Just to, I had a call with somebody yesterday, and they're like, and maybe if like you have a Bluetooth speaker, like for the ceremony to play that music too. I was like, I think we can do a little better than that. Um, so I think, and maybe a lot of vendors would say this, but I think that, at the very least, they're buying music, but really what they're buying is the peace of mind that things are going to go well. Because we're, at a lot of our weddings, not all of them, but at a lot of them, we're there just to make sure that that they're running smoothly, right? If we need an extra speaker somewhere, like we bring an extra speaker. Um, so also the emceeing side of things, we do a lot of coordinating, at least on the entertainment side. So we don't step on the toes of like a plan or anything, but for the entertainment side, just making sure that things are prepped, that before we announce the speeches are going to happen, making sure that the people that are speaking, that they know where they're going to stand, they know what order they're going to be in, they're in the room, they're not in the bathroom, right? So and it's not until wedding day that you understand how important that is. There's a subtle difference between a wedding day going really well and just being in the moment, to a wedding day just happening and different events being strung together. And if you can get people in, like, in the zone of just being in the wedding, um, it can be a little bit magical. I don't know if that's making sense, but
Yeah.
um, instead of like, everybody's eating and then suddenly, like, I guess somebody's giving a speech, as opposed to like it just feels like a movie. Like that's our goal.
Okay.
That's kind of our secret goal, is to make everything just feel like a movie on the wedding day. And I mean, that's hard to to sell.
Yeah.
But on the day of, that's what people have said, at least. They're like, it felt like a whole experience. And that's really what they're buying. And, it's hard to convince them of that. And you can't advertise on a website for that.
Yeah.
Maybe you could. Maybe I'm doing my marketing all wrong. I don't know. But
Probably.
most people are just looking for a DJ. And, of course, everybody says, "Oh, we do so much more than that. It's such a bigger investment." But um, yeah, we think it is.
So back on what you were saying, like you try not to step on the planner's toes. Something I've seen reoccurring on social media is brides are, or more vendors are having the boundary of, I'm not going to do your weddings, photographers specifically, I'm not going to do your wedding if there's not a planner.
Yeah.
And brides are like, what the heck? Like, I want to pay you. Like, why does that matter? And I know that it's because 90% of the time, well, 100% of the time, it'll fall on the DJ or the photographer. And so I think that vendors are just having that boundary. What is your take, I guess, on that? Like, do you care if there's a planner, or is that kind of like a boundary
I
that you?
I love it when there are planners, because they do so much. There's so
Mm,
much that they do, especially when we work with good planners. And okay, should I? I'm gonna open the door a little bit into the DJ world. There is a subtle um, contention between planners and DJs, um, because planners should be in charge, but DJs also have to be in charge, right?
mm,
So, for example, this is a really prime example. If the DJ is going to be announcing the wedding party into the reception for like a grand entrance, um, then the DJ needs to make sure that the people that they're announcing, that they are in that order, right?
mm,
Um, so that would be a hard thing for me to hand off to a planner, because in theory it makes sense for the planner to just line them up, but if the planner lines them up in the wrong order than what I have written down, what I've talked to the couple about, that's like, there's tension there, right? But I think, the professionals that I like to work with, they're the ones that they know exactly what their role is, and they also know what the couple has hired their vendors for, and they let them do it, right?
Mm.
So I think it's really, really valuable. So, okay, so to go back to kind of like the photographer thing you were saying, I think it's actually a good idea for photographers to not work with a couple. Oh, this is a hot take, but to not work with a hot couple if
A
they're
hot couple.
a hot couple, not work. They should always work with hot couples. Do not work with a couple that hasn't hired a planner or somebody that's running the show,
Mm.
because they couples will always hire a photographer. There is one wedding that we have this year that they didn't hire a photographer. One. And that's
Wait a
like,
minute, what?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Did they at least hire a videographer?
No, no, I
Nothing?
know. I don't know. You'd have to ask them, but yeah, it's really that look on your face is exactly the point, right? That nobody does a wedding without a photographer. I know. Um,
Is it, like, budgetary? Like, I have so many questions. Is it
maybe
preference?
it might
Okay.
be. Um, yeah, I don't know. I I I think they're just like, we'll have our family take photos, like, and then send them to us. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you there. But they're gonna be at every single wedding. There's going to be a photographer, and so because that photographer is the only professional that's hired, then it falls to them. And to make the photographer's own job easier, they've got to make sure things are running smoothly. Because if they
Mhm.
want to be out of there at 8 o'clock, if that's when their time is, they have to make sure the first dance happens. Otherwise, the couples are going to be mad at them. So I get why it goes to the photographer, but I really think that photographers should never be planners
Mm.
or coordinators. It's a shame to me that, and this is one of my big pet peeves. It's a shame to me that photographers have felt like they have to become planners just to do their own job, when their job is to be artistic and cover the day, not orchestrate it. It really is sad to me. And I've seen some photographers, become the coordinator out of necessity, but they shouldn't have to. They should have somebody looking out for their own best interest. So yeah, but DJs, I think, in a pinch can fulfill that role. But having a planner is just there's yeah, there's nothing to really replace a good planner because they just
Yeah.
make things run smoothly. So
Well, and it's like they've done this before and they know like if something goes wrong, they know backup plans and backup ideas and they can do it in a way that you will never know.
yes, yeah, 100%. We had, and I think that goes for all the whole team, as the whole vendor team. We had a wedding a few years ago, where it was one of my favorite photographers, one of my favorite planners, one of my favorite caterers, and there was a mix up, and the schedule had to be completely turned around. And we all got together and we made it happen. And the couple didn't know until the end of the night. And we were like, we did it, right?
Yeah.
Because they just had a good time and they were in the moment. And they were doing good. So yeah, I think um, maybe maybe as equally as important as having a good planner is just having a vendor team that wants to work together as a team,
Mhm.
because you know
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I've
important.
noticed or I guess like a question I like to ask is couples will hire vendors but then tend to micro and this isn't for everything, but, like, they tend to micromanage them the whole time, and it's like if you're hiring them, you should trust them.
Yeah.
So what do you think is, like, the main reason why couples micromanage vendors?
Oh, because they've seen bad ones. Because they
Mm,
went to a wedding and they saw a DJ totally mess up the first dance, or totally just, like, try and be funny and be a comedian for like, that I think is the main reason. Sometimes it's because they have a very specific vision, but yeah, I that for me is kind of a that's one of those boundaries, when couples try and, like, okay, let me say it this way. Anytime, I meet with a couple to plan, I tell them, if I if I give you an idea during this call and you like it, you can just tell me, Chris, that's awesome. I love that idea. But if I give you an idea that's bad, and you don't like it, you can tell me, Chris, I hate it. I hate that idea. Bad idea. And I'm great with it because the planning call for me is all about finding the edges of what the couple wants and what they don't want.
Yeah.
But then the flip side is also important. When a couple gives me an idea and they say, I really want to do this and I know it's going to flop because I've seen it, it's important for me to say that. And in I've seen a lot of DJs, and in my experience, there are two different kinds of DJs. There are DJs that are like, you hire me, I'll do exactly what you say, and that's it. And then there are other DJs that I think are the better ones. But there are other DJs that are on the side of, I'm going to bring my experience to your wedding and make your plans even better. So I'm not going to just say yes if you have a bad idea. I'm going to say, okay, cool, but let's find a better way to do that, right?
Mm,
And I think that's honestly the more expensive vendors. Those are the ones that are saying like, good idea, but how do we find a better way to make this work so it actually comes off how you're imagining it? So
yeah.
yeah, and also the more they pay, the less micromanaging they are typically.
Because I feel like they respect and understand that like you do this for a living. I agree with that 100%. I actually I don't remember where I heard this term, but the cheapo people are the ones that tend to micromanage more.
The cheap old people. That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm stealing that. That's great. Yeah.
Um
Um, it's because the amount that they're spending is a whole lot more to them, and so they want to
mhm,
get the most out of that.
yeah.
So I get it. Like, you know, some of my best vendor friends I could not afford to hire. And so I get like the budgetary stuff, and I would want to get my money's worth out of it. So like, there's no shame. I completely get it.
Oh,
Um,
no shame at all. I am a cheapo people myself.
yeah, yeah, right. We're in that category. But I also, if you hire somebody that's really good and you've done your homework on them, like, let them cook, right? Let them do
Yeah.
their thing. So,
Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, okay, I'll tell you mine after you answer this, but what's a phrase that you wish to never hear again? Like just in relation to booking.
whoa. Wow. That's a great question.
Like, do you get where I'm going
Oh,
with this?
okay, okay, okay. I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So, my phrase would be, how much do you charge?
Mm.
Um, and let me give some qualifiers there. I'm great with them asking that at the end of the call, but not at the beginning of the call. If they start at the beginning of the call, it doesn't make any sense to me. Makes zero sense if they're like, how much do you charge? Like, for what? The analogy I use, like, is if you go into McDonald's and you walk up and you say how much, they're gonna be like, for what? Like a Big Mac? Like fries?
Yeah.
So it's more for the couple, like, make sure you know what you're getting for that price. Because if you ask one DJ like how much and they say $300 and another one $7,000, like, clearly there's got to be a difference in there, and it's so important that you as a client know what that difference is. So yeah, don't
Well,
ask me how much at the beginning.
with that, it's really important to understand like what the price difference really is because yes, you may go with the cheaper one because of budgetary, but what is the real cost that that's going to have on your day? Like,
Great point.
yeah. Mine is it's just because I see it in all the Facebook groups and I think it's going away, but I also don't want to jinx it because I never want to see it again. But
Yeah.
it's like I'm looking for XYZ that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And it's like, I think my arm is worth $10,000. What do you mean?
Right. Yeah.
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 So I
I
think that that is like I get budget and I get not wanting to blow it out of the water because weddings are expensive, don't get me wrong, but let's normalize like a range or whatever because it's going to be different to everybody and just saying an arm and a leg is not saying a budget.
it's saying nothing. We always encourage. So I run the
Oh
Idaho
yeah.
group, right?
Mhm.
And we slowly like add rules like from time to time when we just get the other person that helps me run it is Riley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she's awesome. But uh yeah, we slowly like add rules when we see like annoying things happen. Um and anytime somebody says like we're looking for a budget DJ, like budget could be anything. That
Yeah.
could really be, that budget could be $10,000, it could be $500. And I think there should be no shame in saying my budget's $500, that's what I can
Mhm.
afford. Like,
Mhm.
great, awesome. And there are people that will gladly work for that and do a good job for that amount of money. So I think, yeah, yeah, I think just throwing out the other one that kills me and is when people say I'm looking for fill in the blank vendor, like in a wedding group that covers all of Idaho. Like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, first of all, where? Second of all, when? Because then they'll say like, okay, we're looking for somebody in May. Like, okay, that doesn't help any more than
Mhm.
not giving date. You got to give a specific date. It just helps you like find the right person. So, yeah,
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna get instead of 100 comments, you're gonna get 500 comments.
right. And I would much rather just get the people that I want to look at, like instead of
Mhm.
like everybody, like narrow it down. So, yeah, yeah,
Okay, so kind of like what you were saying about Idaho, like different parts of Idaho, like overall, what types of vendors and
yeah.
scenarios are you seeing?
So I think there are three different types of vendors in Idaho, or three different markets, we should say.
Mm,
Right?
yeah.
There are people that are kind of like DIY. They're not really hiring vendors. They'll hire a photographer, maybe, apparently.
Mm,
So
yeah.
so
That's
there,
wild.
yeah. So there's that. And then there are people that are, they've got budgets and they're spending, a decent amount on a photographer, on a planner, on a good venue, on a DJ, on a cake, like all those things. And then there's a third category of planners that don't live here. They live in Florida or New York or California or whatever, and they're bringing all their own vendors in, except for the ones that they have to do local, like, tables and stuff and
Probably the
tents.
venue.
Yeah, right. Um, but I think the goal should be to try and get to that upper echelon of vendors, to be aiming for that, because I fear that we are allowing clients to set how good of a job we can do. Kind of like I said
Mhm.
at the beginning. Because if a client says, I can only afford this much, and we say, okay, we'll do it for that much, but we're only going to give you 25% of our service. Um, that's, I don't know. I personally can't go. We're an all or nothing service. We don't have packages really. We are just like, we're there or we're not. We don't have an hourly price. We don't charge per hour. We don't have a per speaker price. We are all there or not there at all, because we want to do a good job, and we know what it takes. And so I think, yeah. And I think
Well,
that, oh, go ahead.
I think that's just like your public perception of your company is based on what the guests are seeing because they're going to recommend you because oh this was a great DJ, but because you want to meet like a client's budget, they might not see you as such a great DJ because you missed like half the reception because you bounced. This is a terrible example, but like
No, it's a great example. Like,
yeah.
we couldn't hear anything in the room. We couldn't hear the announcements at all. Well, that's because you got a DJ that you booked for their smallest package, and that package did not cover your 200 guests.
Mm,
Like, that is fully on the client, but no guest is going to see it that way. They're going to
no.
say the DJ didn't, didn't have good speakers.
I think the biggest example with this is I was talking to I think it was a caterer. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But they refused to have any desserts next to their food. And at first I was kind of like that's weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
come on, but it's because if those desserts were bad, it reflects on the caterer because it's next to the food and people are just going to assume.
Yeah.
And I'm like that's a really good point actually.
I think and yeah, so DJs always try and be backups for stuff, like, but at some point you have to draw the line and say like, I can't bring extra cutlery for the cater. You know what I mean? Like, so, but we try and, at least our company, we try and do everything that we can to make sure that anything that's in our control, we are controlling. We even bring our own power, like so if the venue like craps out, like doesn't matter. We're still going, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think not if you allow your clients to set your boundaries and to set like how good of a job you can do, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And that's a really hard thing to do, to tell somebody like, no, I'm not willing
Mhm.
to do that. Even though there's money right there on the table. Um,
Right.
yeah, that's a
But at what cost?
right, exact because you can think of it like, yeah, you might be losing a little bit from not doing that one gig, but let's be optimistic. Maybe you get a different gig at your full price, so then you didn't lose anything, but also you're getting referrals from that event that you did. So, like, yeah, just getting the bare minimum because that's what this particular client is asking for. I guess once you're established and you know what you're good at and you're a little bit more, marketed and people know who you are, then you're able to do that. But when you're first starting out, just take everything you can get, right? And just,
Yeah.
figure out what you want and what you don't want.
Yeah. I think another thing is something I see as a quite common theme, especially in photography, is like, oh, charge your worth. It's like, yes, but you also have to pay your dues to an extent because, like, not everybody is gonna like be worth like what the market average is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and especially if you can't justify your worth to the client, like if
Mhm.
they look at your website and your Instagram and your TikTok and every other piece of social media that you have to be on now, and they're not seeing that value, then you're not that worth that value. That's hard to say, but you're just not. Um, Not to say that your work isn't worth that, but to the clients, they see it as you're not worth that because I'm not seeing the value here. So
Well, and sometimes it's the work. Like, I feel like
sometimes it
also
is the work, yeah.
I feel like and I can say this because I went through it and I feel like it's a part of a growing journey and understanding like what you're really charging and why you're charging it. But I feel like when you're first starting out, you're like, I have no idea what to charge. So the market average is this, and people say charge your worth. So I'm just going to charge this. And that might not necessarily be the case because what I charged, and I feel like I undercharged in the beginning, but like what I charged in the beginning is not what I would charge now because I've grown through
Yeah.
experience. And quite honestly, like, I feel like my work is a lot better, but if I would have listened to that and gone with the market average, I never would have booked anybody, never would have got that experience, and never would have learned and grown.
Yeah, I think it's actually good to undercharge when you're first starting out, so you can that experience and get the events that under your belt, so you have some
Mhm.
reviews, and I think it's actually a good thing. But just to raise your rate just because that's the local average, or because it's another year, so I'm raising my rates. Like if you're not providing the value to go along with that, I mean, it's a little disingenuous, I think. Yeah, but I remember there was a there was a just there was a story that I want to tell about this photographer that she figured out what she wanted, right? So I was at this wedding and this photographer, she had been hired through one of those agencies.
Mhm.
I don't remember what the name was, but it's one of those agencies that you just like, hey, I need a photographer, and they just have, they underpay their photographers. But um, so they had hired her, and it was like 15 minutes before the ceremony was supposed to start, and like they couldn't find her. She hadn't shown up. And I was walking around trying to like help figure it out. And I saw this girl sitting with a camera, and I was like, "Are you the photographer?" She's like, "Mm-hmm." And I was like, "Well, the bride's like just finishing getting ready. Do you want to take some photos of that?" She's like, "Oh, sure. I guess so." And like her photos they were okay. They weren't great, but the experience just wasn't good. And she got a bad review from the couple afterwards. And she and I talked about it after, because I think I asked her for photos or something, and she
Mm.
said, "Yeah, but they gave me such a bad review." And I said, "Well, I'm willing to share if you want to hear, right?" And I tried to be as honest as I could, but also as nice about it. And I gave her the feedback, and she said basically like, "Well, I think I don't want to do weddings. I think I want to do bridals instead. And she's great. She's great at doing the bridals instead. But she had to go through that to learn like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I don't want.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
I
it's hard.
do think that there's such a fine line though, because that's somebody's wedding day.
I 100% agree with you. Like we said before, you should not be practicing on somebody's wedding.
No, like second shoot all you want, but
Yeah,
to be the main shooter on somebody's wedding day and you don't even know if you like weddings, like
yeah.
I don't know.
I 100% agree with you. I agree. That wasn't the best way to learn that lesson, but I'm glad that she learned
No,
it, I guess.
no.
And
But
I've learned like, you know, something that I don't love doing is like 16-year-old birthday parties. I don't love it. Like it's just not fun. I
yeah,
love weddings. They're fun. But it's because I've done some of those 16-year-old birthday parties and consistently I just don't vibe with it as well. So
yeah,
I think it's good to take anything that you can get when you first start.
yeah,
But then slowly you'll realize it's just not worth the stress.
yeah. I think that's important with any aspect in life because I feel like you can have an idea of what you think you're gonna like, or you can have an idea of how something's gonna go, and it never goes that way.
Right. Yeah. But then like I think probably you found this with photography and clearly with a magazine, like you find something and you're like, this works. This
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
clicks. And you're able to really like it's so funny because there are people like I have imposter syndrome for sure. I think probably most people do, but I've had people tell me, and this isn't like a braggy thing. This is to a point, but I've had people tell me like, Chris, you found what
Mhm.
you're supposed to do. Like you found your goal, not your goal in life, your purpose in life. And I'm like, really? Because like I'm an imposter, right? Um, but it's like I like doing it. I enjoy it and it clicks. And I think it takes some time to get to that point, but you got to figure it out. I
Yeah,
it's so frustrating when somebody says, "Ah, I got to go to work on Monday again." Like find a find a different job. Like
yeah,
I'm making that I'm oversimplifying that by far, but
yeah.
like you have options. Like you can start exploring different things and that's
Free will is an amazing thing.
yeah. Yeah. You gotta make money too, support your family, but, um, yeah, you should have fun while you do it too.
Yeah. I think that another thing that is interesting is, like, you have to try on all the shoes that don't fit until you find the one that does, and I don't know if that's
Love
a good
that.
I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I feel like if you would have asked me, like, 2 years ago before I started this, if I would ever have a podcast or be a magazine editor, I would say probably not. Like, but I think because I was able to dip my toe into it after doing photography, like I feel like everything has led me to the next
Yeah.
thing.
Do
And
you ever do you ever worry that there is something that you are absolutely amazing at that you would just, like, kill it and be world famous at, but you just didn't know?
mm,
Okay, that's just me. So,
yeah, I don't.
like I worry that there's something out there that I just have never tried. Like maybe I'm an amazing woodworker or something. I don't know.
Oh,
But I just never had the chance to try it. Like I don't know.
yeah,
When I was in
yeah.
college, I took a career exploration class, and they had me take like a test to tell you
Mhm.
what you're supposed to do, and it said I was supposed to be a greeting card shop owner. Um, like I
Oh
don't
yeah, that's right. We talked about
yeah,
this.
yeah, right? And it legitimately does sound fun. Like,
Yeah,
it does sound like a blast, but, that is nothing I would ever try. Like, I don't know how my life would lead me to that point to try that. So, I'm
well,
glad
you're
where
kind of in
I'm
demand.
I guess, I don't know.
I think that maybe that's my thing. Maybe why I don't think like, what if I'll be good at something? Because if I think that, I'll figure out a way to like dip my toes in and try it, and then
Sure.
like before making it like public. Like if it works, then I'll make it public. But if it doesn't work, then I'm like, oh, I tried it and it wasn't for me.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing, like, you don't have to have the perfect thing, you just have to
Hmm.
have something that's good.
Yeah.
And because I mean, otherwise you're just searching forever, and
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect to start because then you'll never start.
Yeah, yeah. Just gets there. Oh, there's a quote. Dang, I'm not gonna remember it, but it's like just get started and then get better. You know, something
Hmm.
like that. Yeah.
One I heard recently that's kind of on the lines of that is like bite off more than you can chew and then learn to chew. And then I told that to my husband and he was like, or choke.
Or joke. I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's such a good point. Um, like Elon Musk, I think he said something like, um, you should oh, I'm gonna totally butcher it, but he basically said like you should plan to do like 500 things in a year, and if you accomplish 100, like that's way more than you were gonna accomplish before.
That's
Like,
smart.
yeah, yeah. Have
That's
you
real
have you
smart.
ever read the book? I think it's 10x is better than 2x.
I haven't.
It's it's good. I don't know that it always applies to like our industry, but it's just the idea that working at 10x is easier than working at 2x because if you have, let's say you have 10 times the marketing budget instead of 2 times the marketing budget, there's so much more you can do. And there's so
Mm,
many more like that forces you to come up with processes to make sure everything works the same every single time and all that. I have not implemented that by any means, but I think it's a great idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do love self-help books. I know that most people don't because they can find them boring, but
I love
I
them.
yeah, I think I haven't read this one all the way through, but I think I got the gist of it. It's the one thing and I don't remember who it's by. But
Oh, yes,
yeah,
I did read that.
and
Yeah.
I think that that's the one that like constantly like repeats in my head because I want to do like all these different things and I want to be good at all of them and I think that everything is a good business idea and it's just like I see something I'm like, "Oh, how can I make that a business?" It's terrible. But I do think that it is important to just focus on the one thing and do the one thing right
Yeah.
before starting something else and I struggle with that.
That resonates so deeply with me. Yeah. One of my employees that I work with, he and I, we're just like, when we get together, we're just like idea,
Mhm.
like we just go back and forth, like, and it just escalates. We both have ADHD. And so it just like, and, yeah, it's always dangerous because I come home from like, long trips, when we go do like overnighters and I come home with all these ideas and I tell my wife, like, I'm going to start a band. And she's like, stop, just stop. Legitimately, I think I am going to start a band though.
As you should.
Yeah, I'm not going to be in the band. I'm not talented that way. But like a wedding band, because
Yeah.
there's Jukebox Boise, which I've heard is really, really good. I haven't been able to see them, but I've heard they're amazing.
They're
Um,
really nice. I haven't seen them, but I've met them.
they're really cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've only heard good things about them. And there's nobody like that on our side of the state. And especially like servicing Jackson, there's
Oh,
nobody that's.
yeah.
I know Jukebox does that sometimes, but um, yeah, like we always get like, well, we're not sure if we want to hire a DJ or a band. Like, it'd be nice if they could just be both, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good idea. I like that.
I think it's a great idea too. But I also
Yeah.
have 5 other ideas like that I'm trying to balance. So I should reread that one thing. The one
Off
thing.
the record, I really want to start a car wash.
What? This
Yeah.
should be on the record. Why do you want to start a car wash?
I am like I'm a sucker for a car wash. Like I will go as often as I can. Like I do pay the monthly and it's such a like I don't know, like a relaxing like minute and a half.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't know why, like, I like,
You like the
my o
lights and the like the whoosh whoosh whoosh. Yeah, yeah.
but I wanna create it like a better experience because I
What
feel
would
like
you
the ones
do?
now well, like, the ones now, you can see all the piping and you can see everything, and, like, I get that you have to do that for an extent, but I don't know, like, I just think it would be so
Okay, I see it. I see the vision. I see it.
and there's one car wash here that, has the like, I don't get me wrong, I don't pay for more than the basic, but,
Sure.
the car wash that I paid to go to has lights with the basic, and, this other one, I tried it out because it was, like, a little bit closer to my house,
Yeah.
and they didn't have lights on the basic, and it was such an unfulfilling experience, so
Like they
I
didn't
was
have like
like,
blinky lights as you're going through.
"No," and I was like, I get that they're just LEDs, but it's like it's the whole experience, and I never wanna go to that car wash again."
What's silly is that cost them nothing.
Exactly.
That
But I think
that
I think it's to get you to pay for the next one, but I'm a cheapo people, so I'm not gonna pay for the next one
Yeah,
because
but
a
that's
car
not
wash is a car
providing
wash.
real value, like, and that
Yeah.
doesn't cost them anything. That's crazy. They
Mhm.
lost you as a customer because of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
see? And so, I want to create the experience. I don't
yeah,
know why. It's something I think about probably more than I should, but also it begs the question. Okay, this is a little woo-woo, but I believe that if there's something or a place that you think about consistently,
yeah.
that your future self is already like in that place or doing that thing. And like I said, woo woo. But I don't know, like I spend my free time on Zillow and I just like look for properties. Not that I can afford it, but I'm like, this would be a good spot for a car wash.
I don't know. I think it's the whole manifesting like what you want to do. Like I think
Mm.
you are literally able to like the difference between me like have you seen that thing where like wives ask their husbands if they could land an airplane? Have you seen that? And most
No.
guys are like, "Yeah, I could do that." Even though we have no knowledge, but we're just like, I could manifest that. I could figure that out. Like I don't
Yeah.
have to have training. And I think like we do manifest stuff. And unfortunately, like for me, sometimes I manifest too much TV during the day, you know, like or
Yeah.
sometimes I manifest like really, really cool things to happen. It's really up to us. So I don't think it's too woo woo. I mean,
There's a self-help book. It's called The Secret. You should
oh
look it up.
yeah. Secret's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that a lot of my mindset is like based on things like that.
Yeah.
But also like it's hard for me because and this is getting a little bit off topic, but
Let's go. I'm there
I
for it.
feel like I do believe in God and it's almost like if we have that much control over it, then like where does God fit in? But I feel like they can also be symbiotic where like free will is a thing, but
Mhm.
also like God could be the tool help. I don't know. It's very like
Totally. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting into a whole religious aspect, like, which yeah, I love going down religious aspects and especially like that whole freedom of choice and like where does God fit into all that? Like, yeah, I think like without going too deep into it, I think God has given us this amazing playground.
Mhm.
And he's given us all the 100% freedom to choose. And we get to choose that. And we wouldn't have the choice of certain things without this playground, right?
Mm.
So I think yeah, like he definitely gave us this choice, but he didn't in some ways he's controlling our choices because he gave us this world that we could choose within, right? But on the other side, he like gave it to us and said figure it out, right? Which leads to great things but also really really terrible things.
Mhm.
And you know, I think in order for yeah, we're really going down a rabbit hole, but in order for God to be hands off, he has to allow the terrible things, which really, really, but if I'm God, I can only imagine how much that must suck to see. Like he's like, wow, you know, they're doing amazing things, but this guy over there, really like disappointed, you know. So I think, yeah, but it has to be that way because if he just suddenly said only good things can happen, there's a whole bunch of bad things that would happen from that, I think. I don't know.
Well, and I think that like as much as it sucks, like the bad things have to happen in order to recognize the good things and have
Yeah.
value in the good things because as like terrible as it is to say, but like how boring would it be if everything was good all the time?
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree. It's you only learn how to play the piano by playing the wrong keys. That's
Yeah.
the only way.
Yeah.
You couldn't learn it if you only played the right keys.
Yeah.
So,
It's it is and I think that w- and this is getting into like society and everything like that, but I think that there's so much misuse or lack of use of just like being able to do what you want. And I think that a little bit is like programming and like societal pressures and everything like that. But I think that um something that has been really resonating for me like the past like 6 months is like why not? Like
yeah.
why can't that happen? Because I think that we're trained to be like, "Oh, like, you can't win the lottery." And it's just like,
Why
"Why
not?
not?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's and like, yeah, the odds are against you, but that's probably a bad example. But there are, like, several things that it's like, "But why not?"
Right, like, the odds are literally against you for every decision you make.
Mhm.
So you might as well just give it a shot, like, and that's why I think I love seeing people do what they're really good at. Like, I just love seeing talented people just do what they're good at. And so, I try and strive for that when I'm working a wedding, like, what is the best that I can do here? Like I could just phone it in and like play a pre-recorded mix. But what's the best that I can do here and what's the most that I can give? And also like we're selfish. Like what's the most that I can get out of this emotionally if I like kill this dance floor? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to feel good for a week, you know? Uh, and like but that's all up to me. I don't have to
Mhm.
do that. And I've seen plenty of vendors and a lot of DJs not do that. They phone it in. And I'm like, why are you going to do that if you could do other things that you'd get so much more joy out of? Like you could
Yeah.
many other ways. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to do it, do it. Like go
Yeah.
for it.
Um, and this is something that, again, always plays in my head is, do it for the gram. Do you
Do it
remember when it's
do it for the gram.
Yeah,
That's what, like yeah, I mean if you're going to build a car wash, like do it for the gram.
yeah, like, I've evolved it to be more like do it for the plot because
Okay, all
the
right, that's fair.
'cause the gram is outdated, and plus, like, you don't wanna do it to please other people or to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the essence of do it for the gram is, like, you don't really want, but, like, do it for the plot, like, do it for the plot of your life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, I don't
Well,
know.
and I think do it for the plot so much better because I've seen so many couples. It's starting to get a little bit better, I think, but they are doing their wedding for the gram, and because
Mhm.
of that, they're missing out on so much. Like they're
Yeah.
putting all of their money towards floral and decor and all of that, which I think, don't get me wrong, those are really, really important to a wedding day. But if that's all you spend your money on, the wedding day is probably going to be boring because you didn't
Mhm.
plan for anything. And as a photographer, I would guess that you can understand this, that it's much easier to take good pictures on a day if people are just having a good time than everything
Mhm.
goes. If you have a DJ that's like killing it and everyone's just partying, that's so much easier to take pictures of than than not. I don't know. Is
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
ring true? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, do it for the plot. I like
Yeah.
that. That's better.
Thank you. Um, I wish I knew where I heard it, otherwise I would quote
You
it.
made it up. Ivy coined it.
Probably. Just
Yeah.
kidding. Um, okay, a couple other ones I really wanna ask.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't ask you this before. Do you have anywhere to be today?
Do I have no, I've
Okay.
got plenty of time.
Okay. I only have, like, a couple more that I really wanna get into, but I
Okay.
just wanna make sure I respect
Yep.
your time. What's a confession about this industry that you've never said publicly?
Oh, shoot. So I had a podcast for a little while, so I've said a lot.
Oh, nice. Did we talk
Um,
about this before?
I don't know if we did. It's called
Okay.
the Top Secret Wedding Podcast. It was a little too
Okay.
secret because people didn't listen to it very much, but I legitimately like I go back and listen to it sometimes. Um, because I'm full of myself apparently. No, it's because like I actually put time into like preparing for it and there
Yeah.
are things that I forgot that I'm like, "Oh, I need to do that. I need to." And I had a co-host and so getting like the insights from her as well, like different perspectives. Um so yeah.
Why didn't you let it I will say starting a podcast and, like, keeping it going is hard, especially when
And
you see that, like, there's no views consistently week over week.
yeah, cuz it's a
But
whole
that
nother
is
business.
Yeah.
Like you got to do marketing for it. You got to, yeah. So it just, my co-host, she had a baby. That
Oh,
takes a little bit of time, right? So, um, and there were some other changes like with both of our businesses that we had to switch and focus on. But, um,
why don't you do it by
yeah.
yourself?
Um,
Do it like this, have guests on.
I mean, I could, I guess. I don't know. I think at the time also it was starting to get into wedding season, and then I just
Oh,
like dropped it. So I've thought about doing it again, but
I think you should.
yeah, maybe I will. maybe.
Yeah.
What was the question? I already forgot it. Yeah, sorry.
Uh, what's one confession about this industry that you've never said publicly?
Oh, I think that well, that's a really open question because it could be like something that I've done, or something that like a hot take. Okay,
That's the beauty of it.
yeah, that it's a dangerous question. So, um, I told you photos shouldn't plan, right? Photographers shouldn't plan. Um, I hate it when okay, yeah, this is one that's been developing lately. When people say that you get a free consultation,
Mm.
um, like contact me for a free consultation. It's always a free consultation. Like,
Yeah.
okay, the one place maybe not would be like a if you're trying on a dress. That's
Mm.
different. But like for a DJ or photographer, it's always free. Like,
Yeah.
don't
I
give
feel
me
like
that.
food and dessert, it could be 50-50.
Well, but
Um,
that should cost money though, and that's a tasting though. Um,
yeah, because people will take advantage of it. There was a grocery store, I guess, that was offering like a sample platter, and somebody put and they were offering it for free,
yeah,
obviously with the thought that you're gonna buy something from them,
yeah,
and people took advantage of it, and somebody posted on TikTok, and it just went out of control, and so they had to stop doing that.
yeah, yeah. I thought like when my wife and I were testing cakes out, like before we got married, we realized it was free. We are like, we didn't ever do it, but we're like, this would be a great like weekly date idea to just get free cake and you get like five different kinds. But yeah, it's so yeah, the whole free thing. The other one is like when people announce like exciting news, we're now booking.
No shit.
Like you're always booking. Like that's not an announcement. So but I
I
get
think
like people got to learn how to market it. And I'm not
Mhm.
great at marketing either, but that one
Yeah.
just I guess rubs me the wrong way. So
I feel like it's also like the pressure to like have to post something, and you're like, "Oh, like I see other people doing it, like I have to post." And kind of similar to that, I just posted it this on this week's podcast, but like photographers specifically like posting their editing queue. Like,
they're editing oh, like
yeah.
how many gotcha.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I know.
We're all doing it. Yeah, yeah,
But I get it. Like there is pressure to like post consistently and post, and you run out of things, and you're like, well, everybody else is posting this, so I'm just gonna post this. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I think yeah, there are some trends that maybe should go away as far as posting. I don't know if it's that, but yeah.
yeah.
I think okay, here's a hill that I will die on the DJ
Okay.
side of things. Um, I think that complicated mixing at weddings,
Mm.
for the most part, is useless and more annoying than anything. Because I've like for DJs, we like to play around and have fun, like figure out new ways to like mix. Have you heard of? Do you know what word plays are? Have you ever heard that term?
I
Word.
think so. Like you end a song on a word, and then you start a song off that word.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, right? I think for the most part, nobody cares, and I think people get annoyed by them at wedding. They would rather just hear the songs that they like
Mhm.
mixed cleanly, like just from one song to the next, instead of like doing all this like scratching. I think, if you're not watching somebody like scratch as a DJ, it's kind of annoying. Uh,
Mm.
but if you're watching them, like it's the art form and it's really, really cool to see them like that's super cool. But like when you're trying to dance, like just play the song, bro. So
Yeah.
that's a hill that I'll die on for sure. Like just like you should mix good and you should like do advanced mixes, but you shouldn't like don't get too fancy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah. I agree with that. And there's nothing I hate more than like starting to get into a song and then they change it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can be really tricky because um yeah, sometimes some songs they just go on too long and
Mm.
there are times where like I switch the song like I shouldn't have done that. They were vibing to it and I yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. What's a behavior from couples that's an instant green flag that the wedding will go smoothly?
oh, I love that. That's a good question. Okay. Um so I think when they are emotionally open
Mm.
when they're emotionally open, that tells me that they want their guests to be there. They want to interact with their guests, and likely they're going to be on the dance floor for the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I so I was given a piece of advice, and I think maybe I said this last time, but the two pieces of advice that I give them is one, don't feel like you're performing on the wedding day because people are going to love you no matter what you do. So don't worry about being in front of people. Don't worry about crying. Don't worry about laughing. Don't worry about any of that crap. They're going to love you no matter what you do. And the second thing is, if you want a dance party, make sure you're on the dance floor. Like, be where you want your guests to be because that's where they're going to be. So when I see couples that are just with their guests the entire time, um, I know it's gonna be great. I can pull out all the cool tricks and everything, but if the couple is absent from their own wedding, there's nothing I can do to make up for that.
Yeah.
They're not there to see me. They don't care
Okay.
about me.
That's
So
good. Okay, what's a red flag?
a red flag is when okay, there's two. So the first one is when they use the word just. When they're looking, we're just gonna have a small wedding. We're just gonna.
Mm,
When they say that, I know that they're saying like we have a very limited budget, or they're very nervous about hiring somebody.
okay.
Again, like we talked about, budget's fine. You do you, but yeah, that's kind of a red flag. The other one that's a red flag is when they say from the get go, like that they want to have a lot of control. Basically, like we have a
Oh,
playlist that we want you to stick to. Like, no,
yeah.
probably not the DJ for you. There are DJs that are willing to take a Spotify playlist and just play through that on Spotify, but that's for me that's a red flag. So
Well, and I don't feel like that's a DJ at that point.
thank you. I we did we did lighting for this wedding and I wasn't there, but they hired another DJ, but they hired us just to do the lighting, and we were up. It wasn't me, it was one of my DJs. He was up on a balcony and just below him was the DJ, right? And so he could see everything that was happening. And the DJ like was literally playing off of Spotify, and this is kind of a well-known company, so I was kind of surprised
Like
by
well
it.
known to Idaho or like well known, well known?
At least locally for us, it's kind of well known. Not one of the bigger ones, not
Okay.
not one of the more reputable ones, but anyways, yeah, they were just playing off of Spotify. They were using no like you know how you can set like the crossfade on Spotify. They
Yeah.
weren't using that. They played like the Cupid Shuffle during dinner. Like they went to the bathroom and the playlist ran out. Like just like it was not DJing. Like you could have had
Oh,
your sister, like your maid of honor play and she would have done a better job. It was just very sad. So,
that's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
not DJing.
Well.
Well, have you seen the Spotify DJ thing? Not the AI thing, but like
Oh,
where it can mix like between songs?
no.
It's actually really cool. So if you put together a playlist, you can click like what's the button? I think it's like you click like mix or something like that, and
Mm,
it will give you transitions, and it will transition like a DJ. And I don't think it's going to replace DJs anytime soon, but
no.
like a little house party, like could be.
Yeah.
You should play with it. It's pretty fun.
Okay. I
Yeah.
will. Um, I only have a couple. I keep saying that. I only have a couple more, and
Good.
then I look at
Yeah,
it, I'm
I'm
like,
good.
this would be so good.
You're good.
Um, okay, let me just look through it and make sure, because I think I know the last one that I want to do, but I just want to double check.
Okay.
And I think like most of these, like we've already kind of like gone through in a
Kind of
roundabout way
covered.
without asking the direct question.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then we are gonna end it on it's this or that, no explanations.
Whew. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay, ceremony or reception.
Reception.
Okay, first look or no first look.
First look.
Indoor or outdoor.
Indoor. Hard stop. Indoor.
What if it? Okay, no, you're right. No
You
explanation.
said you set the rules on this.
I know. Buffet or plated?
Oh, buffet. Unfortunately.
Really? Okay.
Hmm.
Band or DJ?
I mean, DJ, but there's nothing that can replace. I know you said no, but there's nothing that can replace the energy of a band in a room. But there's nothing that can replace the breadth of the depth of a catalog that a DJ has.
Okay.
I broke the rules. Sorry.
It's okay. Champagne tower or sparkler exit?
Sparkler exit.
Okay. Biggest wedding day ick in one word or one sentence?
No deodorant. I mean, right?
I have so many questions, but okay.
I'm not sure that I've seen that, but that's why they carry flowers around, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, not anymore, but no, I haven't.
Oh,
I haven't ever seen that, but
okay.
yeah, that would be
Um,
ick.
yes. Should couples splurge on first?
Venue. I,
Yeah.
yeah.
What should they cut without hesitation?
Um. Oh. Uh. What are those called? The mechanical ball.
Oh,
Yeah, cut it. You don't need it.
how many have you seen at a wedding?
Enough to know they should cut it. Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then one sentence of real advice that every couple needs to hear.
Um. Oh shoot. One sentence? That's hard.
Okay, well, you
No,
this is
no,
you
that's
make it.
okay. That's okay. I'll play by the rules. I think be true to who you are and make sure your wedding day represents that. Don't try
Mhm.
and fit it to a mold.
Yeah.
That's two sentences, but they both said the same thing.
Well, and I think that fits the whole theme of our conversation. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good answer.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. This is so fun. I'm glad that we did this again. This
Yeah.
conversation honestly felt better. Yeah, this I felt like we got to some of the heart of the issues, and
Mhm.
so yeah, this was great. Thank you
Anything you want to
for
leave them with?
anything.
Anything like upcoming,
I'm
exciting?
No, I don't think so. For any DJs listening, this could start another thing, but look out for the app that I'm releasing. It's for DJs.
Oh,
Basically allows clients to rate songs, and then it turns that into playlists for DJs. So
that's
it's
awesome.
so DJs get in touch with me about that. And yeah, look us up on Instagram. Wildfire DJs plural. There is one in France, so make sure you get the one that's in Idaho. We're not connected, but yeah, look us up. And I am a big I love to talk weddings, and so if anybody just wants to reach out to talk weddings and just connect, I'm here for it.
On your
So
podcast.
on my okay, maybe I
Yeah,
should.
you
All
should.
right.
I'm gonna look you up. Is it still up?
Yeah, it's still up.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Okay,
subscribe.
here's my podcast idea for you. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
This is I don't know what you call it. I don't have a good name for it. But Ivy um car washes with Ivy, right? And you go through the car wash with a vendor and you have to the end of the car wash to ask them questions. So they'd just be like a minute and a half and you have like 100 of them.
You know what?
Do it.
I should, and then when I do mine, it should be like a long car wash, at least 5 minutes.
Right. It just like it's a loop. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
car
will,
wash with Ivy.
I will say, before starting this, I've always loved the idea of like porch, like sitting on a porch. So I want to do like porch talks, but I don't have
Oh, that's
like
cute.
an aesthetic porch. I have an
Oh,
apartment porch.
I mean, you could figure. I don't know.
Yeah, it's also
Well, I
like
bet there's a
cool.
wedding venue that would allow you to do that.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, they would love the exposure,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay,
during
well,
the
any
week.
wedding venues, I'm open to all of Idaho.
Reach out.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I love
good.
it.
That's
Well,
good.
thank you so much for letting
Yes.
me do this, and
Thank you.
always a pleasure to talk with you. Um, I just love the success that you've had with the
Thank you.
magazine and everything that you're doing. I didn't get to really give you your flowers last time about it, but man, you're doing such a good job with it, and it's a lot of work. And I don't think I don't even understand how much work it is. But good job. It does not go unnoticed. Your people people appreciate the work that you're putting in. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.